Chapter 590, Federation. For someone like Chen Jingwan who panics off stage and becomes a limp noodle on stage, you have to hit him hard in the face. If he wakes up, it's fine, but if he doesn't, Zhang Yi won't bother with him. Compared to the shrewd Wei Dinghai, Chen Jingwan is not just a little bit worse. If this continues, the Chaoyu base will soon be destroyed or taken over by his subordinates without Zhang Yi having to ask. Chen Jingwan was really scared, and he buried his head as low as he could. Zhang Yi, it's my fault, I made a mistake. Please, for the sake of everyone being a Tianhai city power, save me. Zhang Yi snorted in disdain. Since when did being a Tianhai city power become a reason to argue? Had they forgotten that they had previously been fighting for their lives? Shoo! Zhang Yi put a finger in front of his lips, signaling him to stop talking. Go rest. Zhang Yi was really dumbfounded by Chen Jingwan this time. However, this incident at best accelerated the conflict between Tianhai City and other cities. Since the Tianhai City War, the population had dwindled, and conflicts with surrounding cities were inevitable. Sooner or later, Zhang Yi would have to step in and deal with this matter. Chen Jingwan must pay for his foolish actions. Without sufficient sincerity, Zhang Yi would not be able to protect him. At this point, Zhang Yi was already considering whether to take a few of his large sailing ships. Chen Jingwan was extremely scared at this point, stammering and not knowing what to say. Zhou was still smart. She could see that Zhang Yi had not completely ruled out the possibility of saving the Chaoyu base. So she walked over and said to Chen Jingwan with a smile, "Let me take a look at your injuries first." With Zhou mediation, Chen Jingwan felt slightly better. Zhou examined Chen Jingwan's body and found that his internal organs had indeed suffered serious injuries. On the surface, there did not appear to be any major problems, but it would not be long before they became serious injuries that could even endanger his life. She used her superpower to treat Chen Jingwan, and then took medicine from the medicine bag she carried with her and gave it to him to take. Chen Jingwan was full of gratitude, thanking her over and over again, and implored Zhou to intercede with Zhang Yi on his behalf. Zhou just smiled, telling him to pay attention to recuperating and never fight with anyone again. She returned to Zhang Yi's side and whispered to him about the hidden injuries in Chen Jingwan's body. Zhang Yi's eyes flashed, and he looked at the Dazai city forces not far from them. Sun Jianming's big bald head was turned away from him, as if he felt Zhang Yi's gaze. He also turned his head around, flashing a cold smile at Zhang Yi and making a motion of wiping his neck. Zhang Yi withdrew his gaze, did not continue discussing this matter, and simply said indifferently, "Let's wait for the meeting to begin." Around 2:30 p.m., Zhu Jing finally appeared at the meeting venue. Accompanying him were Tu Yunlai, the head of the operations department, and Deng Shintong, the captain of the Heavenly Squad. As soon as these people appeared, the venue suddenly became quiet with a strong sense of oppression. Zhu Zheng's expression today was very serious, and it was related to the big event that happened this morning. But since he came here, it means that matter has been dealt with more or less. Zhu Zheng stood on the stage and scanned the scene of more than 1,000 people. He could feel the strength and unruliness of the many aliens in these 12 cities. If he could gather this power together, it would be no less than the Yanyan army in his hands. "Welcome to Blizzard City," Zhu Jing said, and his calm and powerful voice spread through the microphone to everyone's ears. "I am Zhu Zheng, the commander of the Jiangnan region. I have just been delayed due to a special matter. Here, I would like to apologize to everyone. Next, I won't waste your time, and will cut to the chase and talk about the purpose of bringing you here. Since the Ice Age began last December, the world has been in chaos, and society has lost its proper order. Now that half a year has passed, most of the survivors have formed alliances of varying sizes. Among them are many lucky people who have awakened their superpowers and possess extraordinary strength. And everyone here represents the most powerful forces in their respective regions. I hope that we can pool our resources to achieve great things, rather than being like a bowl of loose sand, prone to conflict with each other. Therefore, starting today, I have decided to establish the Jiangnan Superpower Federation. Everyone within the Jiangnan region must participate. In particular, the major forces in your 12 cities will become important members of the Federation. Zhu Zheng's voice echoed through the venue. Many people couldn't help but frown and ponder when they heard this. Zhang Yi crossed his arms and thought to himself, so it is. I just don't know what they want us to do and how much benefit they will give us. Otherwise, none of these people here would do something that doesn't benefit them. If this gets out of hand, even if the Jiangnan region is strong, I'm afraid it will cost a huge price to suppress. The others also whispered, and there was a lot of noise in the hall. Tu Yunlai, Deng Shintong, and Zhu Zheng's bodyguard Sun Lushuan scanned the venue with a powerful aura, causing everyone to shut up and wait for Zhu Zheng's next words. Zhu Zheng continued, the Jiangnan Superpower Federation is subordinate to the Jiangnan Regional Headquarters, and I will personally serve as the president. Members of the Federation can operate within their respective regions. However, in the event of a special incident, the Regional Committee will assign tasks to be carried out by members of the Federation, and this cannot be violated. Hearing this request, the discussion on the scene resumed. Someone couldn't help but sneer, isn't this asking us to be the lackeys of the Jiangnan region? And the kind that brings its own dog food. Yeah, if we were allowed to join the region, living in Blizzard City would be fine. But on the one hand, we're told to stay where we are, and on the other, we have to do things for them unconditionally. Isn't this putting a dog collar around our necks? Zhu Zheng raised his voice a little. Of course, you won't be working for nothing. As long as you complete the tasks assigned by the district, you will be rewarded accordingly. You can use the points you earn from missions to redeem medicine, weapons, and other supplies from the district. Zhang Yi's eyebrows shot up. This was quite tempting. As far as he knew, the weapons in the district were a long way above those in Tianhai City. For example, the source bombs, the unique training suits, and the weapons made of Edelman metal. I'm afraid that they are only the tip of the iceberg in the Jiangnan district's arsenal. Moreover, according to the information once revealed by Li Changqing, the Jiangnan district has been able to synthesize compounds specifically for aliens to enhance their strength. These are all wonderful things. Chapter 591, Absolute Strength. Zhu Zheng ignored the commotion below and calmly continued. Third, internal conflict is strictly forbidden within the district. Over the past 6 months, the number of human deaths due to internal conflict has been terrifying. Some of them include some aliens. I don't want to see this happen again. I don't think you want to live in fear every day either. Therefore, internal conflicts must end immediately. Anyone who dares to encroach on other districts can file a complaint with the Federation, and I will send someone to make a ruling. The third point did make some forces feel tempted. Not every force's alien is aggressive. After the brutal struggles since the end of the world, there are always people who want to live a peaceful life. Shokur heard this and looked at Zhang Yi with some relief. If that's the case, wouldn't that be great? Zhang Yi's mouth curled up and he snickered softly. So naive, just take it as a compliment, don't take it seriously. If things could be solved so easily, there would not have been so much unrest throughout the ages. Human greed is endless. There will always be people who desire greater power and more resources, and who will invade others. Sure enough, as soon as Zhu Zheng finished speaking, the female leader of Ozawa City, Gu Hongdai, raised her hand and asked coquettishly, but what if some weak forces occupy areas with abundant resources? Wouldn't that be a waste? As she said this, her gaze flicked over to Zhang Yi's side. Not only them, but many people subconsciously looked over to Chen Jingguan. Chen Jingguan's face was red with anger. But there was nothing he could do about it. Today, he had gained notoriety throughout the Jiangnan region, the kind of notoriety that was humiliating. Zhu Zheng frowned and said in a deep voice, the redistribution of resources will be coordinated by the region. Moreover, the resources within your respective areas of influence should be enough for you to survive, right? There are now less than 5% survivors in the Jiangnan region, so there is no way that there is not enough survival supplies. And the supplies that Gu Hongdai is talking about are naturally not for survival, but for strategic needs. For example, machinery factories, weapons, vehicles, and population. These are all essential if you want to expand your power and become stronger. Not everyone just wants to survive in the end times. Many people have ambitions and want to carve out a kingdom in this troubled world and become the king and dominate. Gu Hongdai shrugged, with a mischievous smile on her face, and obviously didn't take Zhu Zheng's words seriously. The faces of the strangers on the scene were full of contempt, and they all felt that the Jiangnan region's demands were too overbearing and unreasonable. Among the crowd, a man wrapped in white cloth stood up. He stared at Zhu Zheng with cold eyes and said, "What the Jiangnan region means is to incorporate all of us and then let you do whatever you want. If we have to listen to your arrangements for everything we do, aren't we no different from puppets?" An approving voice came from below. Zhu Zheng's face did not change the slightest. But suddenly, a faint sound of breaking air rang in everyone's ears. The next moment, the head of the foreigner flew high above his neck. Blood splattered, splashing onto the faces of several people nearby. His body was still standing, but his head fell onto the table in front of him. Zhang Yi's pupils constricted as he caught what had just happened. The alien was at least 30 meters away from the podium, but in that instant, the security guard standing behind Zhu Zheng suddenly struck. 3 slender wires flew out of the sleeve of his right hand, severing the alien's head in midair. However, the speed of his strike was so fast that no one at the scene reacted. Whoosh! The 3 wires flashed with silvery light in midair. They were so slender that they were almost impossible to see without looking closely. It was only because there was still a trace of blood on them that they were noticed. Sun Luxuan retracted his wire, then slowly adjusted his black goatskin gloves before putting his hands behind his back and smiling as he looked out at the venue. This move caused the venue to fall silent once again. Because the person who just made a noise, many people knew, was a leader of a powerful clan in Sichuan City. It is said that he is very powerful, a Delta-level outsider, and on the same level as Xiao Honglian and Wei Dinghai. However, such an outsider was beheaded with one move. What kind of powerful shock is this? The guard who could kill the white-clad outsider in seconds could naturally kill the vast majority of outsiders at the scene. Zhang Yi's gaze became deep. The guards around Zhu Zheng are truly terrifying. Perhaps they are even stronger than the border army soldiers. The 13 cities of Jiangnan, with the exception of a few areas such as Blizzard City and Tianhai City, have not had direct contact with the Jiangnan region. Naturally, they cannot understand that their strength is far from comparable to the top combat power of Blizzard City. However, they have been ruling their own territories, giving them false confidence. They still think they are qualified to talk to Zhu Zheng. However, although they were now only a few dozen meters away from Zhu Zheng, in terms of the power and authority they possessed, it was as if they were worlds apart. A foreigner muttered in shock, he actually struck. Sun Luxuan's blow shattered the illusions of many people. And with Sun Luxuan's strike, the doors at the back and sides of the venue were also opened. Bai Li Changqing appeared here with the members of the Black Robe Squad and a large number of Yan Yunwei. The atmosphere was solemn. Even Deng Shintong twisted his wrist, his gaze cold, with a mocking smile at the corner of his mouth. This strong sense of oppression made everyone present seem a little panicked. Zhang Yimou's eyes shone with light. Although he didn't think Blizzard City would intervene and carry out a purge, he was still prepared to escape. Cough cough. At this time, Zhu Zheng's voice came from the speakers. "Don't get me wrong." He stared at the crowd in the venue and said coldly, "I'm not consulting with you, I'm just informing you. Any member who refuses to join the Superpower Federation will be regarded as opposing the Federation and, by extension, the entire Jiangnan region. And such forces and people have no need to exist on this land." Zhang Yi's mouth curled up into a carefree smile. It should be like this, and he has long since realized it. He just didn't expect that there would still be so many idiots trying to reason with a colossus like the Jiangnan region. Some even dare to openly stand up and sing a different tune. Maybe their brains have been frozen by temperatures of -60 degrees Celsius.